I made it on time. Welcome. This is Devin with Writing Daily. Every single day, I do another podcast on writing better, writing more, writing closer to your vision, writing, whether it is to a grandmother, a note that you're going to put on your refrigerator, or you're going to finish that book of poetry. If it is the written word, we are here to help. Anyway, this is Devin Galaudet. I'm the editor-in-chief of In the No Traveler. I have an MFA in creative nonfiction, and I am the author of the forthcoming book, 10,000 Miles with My Dead Father's Ashes. All very exciting stuff. We will touch on these pieces along the way, but for the most part, this is about you. If you like something that I've said, please hit like the wow button or the like button, or follow me on Facebook or Twitter, or certainly like me here on Devin Galaudet at the Facebook version of it. Today, I'm going to tell you, as I frequently do, I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story. The story today is that I have a friend who just published a book. Right? Very exciting. She's an exceptionally talented writer. And at some point, I guess the question was, hey, well, can we buy it from your website? And she's like, well, I don't have a website yet, but I'm thinking about it. Okay, so this inspired me because I've been a web guy for years and years now. And the truth of the matter is, if you are a writer and you don't have a website, you need to stop everything that you're doing to make sure that you have a website immediately. I think it's important for a whole variety of reasons, which I'm going to touch on in a minute. But to start with, if you don't have a website, quite literally, be prepared like a credit card in hand to look up your name. Like I have devingallaudet.com because I should. There should be nobody else that has devingallaudet.com. I have an odd name, so that makes it perhaps easier for me to have gotten it. I've also had it for 10 years. But if you don't have your name's website, I don't care if you have 10 other websites, you should have that website. You don't have to worry about branding because the branding is you. If somebody looks up your name, this is the website that will look up or that will pop up on Google, and that's what you want. I have an editor named Steve. His last name is Smith. It is a very, very common name. That said, if you need to put in a middle initial to separate you from other Steve Smiths, right, or people with common names, John Jones or something like that. There's lots of people who have that name. So if you need to put in a middle initial, John, Q Jones, and look that up. If that doesn't exist, consider putting in a hyphen in your name. In other words, like Devin Galaudet, or Devin middle initial Galaudet. But whatever it is, make sure that you give yourself every single opportunity for somebody to be able to look you up and find you as a writer. And the reason why this is so important is I read an article recently, and I wish I could tell you it off the top of my head. But basically what had happened was it was a person who does a lot of book reviews. And so she read this book by an author she liked, and she went to the Amazon page to find out about the author. And the authors, she thought, oh, well, here's the author's name. I'm going to look up the author. And when she did, there was nothing. In other words, there was no other articles, there was no bio, there was no nothing. And here's the thing. Your website, your author website doesn't have to be, I'm a web guy, so I have no problem putting a whole slew of pages and writing blog posts, etc. But you want to make sure that there is an accurate biography, an up-to-date biography. If nothing else, that if you've written for a bunch of other websites, you should have links to all of those websites. You should be supporting your own work on those websites by linking to them. You want to make sure, truthfully, I think you should be blogging. Part of what I'm doing at this very second is about aiding the goals of my own book. In other words, I'm doing a podcast in part so I can have my name out, so I can put out value into the universe. But because if somebody wants to review my book, and it's like, who's Devin? Okay, I can click on one of his 100 videos, and then I can know Devin and I can comment on that. Or here's my opinion of his content. He's the worst. We love him. Whatever it is, we want to make sure that if you're writing, if you're putting out your book of poetry, if you're putting out your short story collection, by the way, this is whether you are publishing it yourself or somebody else's, you want to make sure that somebody is going to be able to track you down and ask questions. Let's say if they want to give you an interview, maybe they'll be able to find your email address online, and maybe they won't, but they should be able to find your website, your personal website. And by the way, I would go with a personal name rather than, sort of like a branded thing. Like, here's my logo and here's my identity, dancing bear, jumping volcano. I don't know. So instead of having dancingbearjumpingvolcano.com, where you're going to have to then somehow link yourself to that notion, like you to the dancingbearjumpingvolcano.com website, you just have your name. So when somebody lands on your site with your name, and your face right on there, they already know. Like, I'm using mine, I'm going to put my face on it. I've already done this, but put my face. I've put it in a temporary book cover because they're still working on it. The publisher's still working on it, which I'm assuming is going to be happening, probably in the near future. And so I want to put as much stuff on my website that will identify specifically with me. So if somebody has a question, they can find me really easily. If they have a comment, they can, even if it's hate mail, this way you get to kind of know what's, so somebody can track you down. That's all. Like, part of my goal is, I'm competing with wildly famous people writing a book. So I will have a small window. If somebody's thinking about my book in comparison to David Bowie as an example, I've got a very small window of time. Everybody knows who David Bowie is. Nobody knows who I am. And that's just the reality. So what that means is I have to be completely available from the standpoint that if somebody needs to find me, that I am findable, right? If they can paste my name from an article I've written and they can find me on social media really easy, I need to make sure that there are dozens of ways that people can track me down. And so that's what I'm highly, 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 highly recommending you. If you're like, oh, I'm thinking about a website, honestly, drop everything and make a website now. They're really easy to do. And if nothing else, have a page with a bio that you've written, or your accomplishments, or your awards. And if you haven't won an award, put something down. Again, if nothing else, links to all of your articles, everything that you've ever done across the web, whether it's something that you're particularly proud of or not. You want to at least make sure that people come to your site and go, oh, he's or she is totally a legitimate writer, and I want to pursue that interview with them. I want to pursue getting to know who they are, because maybe they'll go out and buy your book. And that's something, every book sale at some point is to your benefit, even if you're not going to make a ton of money from the books, even if you're not going to get past an advance, or there was never an advance, or you're self-publishing it. Regardless of the situation, I can't stress this strongly enough that I hope you go out and get your own website. It's not that complicated to do. And by the way, if you're going to search your name and you have an uncommon name, here's like a special tip that I want you to be aware of. If you search your name and go, oh, look, I can buy my name, you buy it on the spot. You don't leave the website, because there's a lot of websites that have bots that are constantly searching them. And what can happen, and this has happened with me for a different website, is that if the bot sees that you searched out a name and you didn't buy it, the bot may buy it on behalf of some other company so they can squat on it. Right? We didn't know we were looking up Jerry R. Garcia, but now we're going to buy Jerry R. Garcia, because if you need it, instead of paying the $15 a month, now you have to pay some other person $500 or $1,000 in order to get your own website. So make sure that you've got your credit card handy, that you can buy it on the spot. I buy mine typically through 1&1, but there's a whole bunch of very reputable ones out there that have been around for a very long time. GoDaddy. I mean, all the names that you've probably heard of will allow you the ability to buy your website. So that's what I've got for today. That's our 10 minutes. This is about writing daily. Oh, and by the way, having a website allows you to blog. Start blogging about any subject that you want so people can find you, build a fan base, do all those other things that are incredibly important as well. Anyway, as always, please consider liking my page. It helps you find me in the future. Please follow me on Twitter, on YouTube. It's all under Devin Galaudet. I'm easy to find. I'm everywhere. So anyway, thanks for being with us today. And I'm looking forward to checking in with you guys tomorrow as I continue this daily writing daily goal. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you guys soon.